What if I told you that the enemy you fear the most isn't out there in the world, but it's sitting quietly within you, lazy, undisciplined, full of excuses, and waiting for permission to rot? You want meaning. You want purpose. Then I dare you to work on yourself, not just casually, not just when it's easy. I mean truly, brutally, and consistently confront who you are right now and compare that honestly to who you could be. See, people talk a lot about wanting to change their lives, but they rarely take the time to understand this brutal truth. You do not get to transform your life until you transform your character. Your habits, your mindset, your values, they're all under your control. But the cost is high. It requires responsibility, and that's why most people don't do it, because working on yourself means voluntarily facing your inadequacies. It means admitting that your potential is being buried by your laziness, by your fear, by your comfort. But there's hope. You have the capacity right now to become formidable, not through pretending to be strong, not through blaming the world, but by organizing your soul day by day, like a craftsman shaping raw material into something meaningful. That's not an easy path, but it's the noble one, so I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to challenge you, to provoke you, to dare you. Start waking up early. Speak the truth. Stop lying to yourself. Set a damn goal. Clean your room, not just the one in your house, but the one in your mind, because if you don't work on yourself, the world will work on you, and it won't be kind. So again, I ask you, no, I dare you, work on yourself like your life depends on it. Because it does. Here are 6 important key ones. The real enemy is within. The greatest obstacle to personal growth is not external circumstances, but your own internal weaknesses, laziness, fear, denial, and a lack of discipline. The most dangerous and persistent obstacle we face is not some external force or oppressive system. It is our own inner resistance. Often, we look outward for reasons why we aren't where we want to be in life. We blame society, our upbringing, our environment, or other people, but rarely do we pause long enough to recognize that the greatest barrier is right inside of us. It's the voice that tells us to stay in bed a little longer, the urge to avoid discomfort, the tendency to make excuses rather than face painful truths. This inner enemy operates silently but powerfully, convincing us that tomorrow is a better day to start, that we're not ready yet, or that we've already done enough. That voice is not our friend. It's the very thing keeping us weak, stagnant, and unfulfilled. When you begin to realize this truth, it becomes clear that any real change must begin from within. If you want to grow, to become stronger, more capable, and more disciplined, you have to confront that internal resistance head on. That means acknowledging your fears, your procrastination, your self-doubt, and choosing to act anyway. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop rationalizing mediocrity. You recognize that the fight is not with the world, but with your own unwillingness to take action. This inner confrontation is not easy, but it is necessary, because once you defeat the enemy within, the enemies outside can no longer stop you. The world becomes manageable, not because it gets easier, but because you've become stronger. You've dared to face the hardest truth of all, that your worst enemy wears your face, and from that moment forward, you gain the power to start building a better, stronger version of yourself, too. Transformation requires responsibility. Real change begins when you accept full responsibility for your life. Without owning your faults and choices, personal growth remains impossible. True transformation doesn't begin with motivation or inspiration. It begins with responsibility. Until you take full ownership of your life, nothing will truly change. It's easy to blame your circumstances, your past, your parents, or society. That path is comforting because it removes the burden from your shoulders. But the truth is harsh. The life you live is largely a reflection of the choices you've made and the actions you've taken, or failed to take. Responsibility means acknowledging that no one is coming to save you, and that your current reality is your responsibility to improve. Taking responsibility is not about shame or guilt. It's about empowerment. When you accept that you are the author of your future, you reclaim control. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or ideal conditions and start making progress with what you have. The weight of responsibility can feel overwhelming at times, but it is also the source of your greatest strength. Because if it's your fault, then it's also your power. You don't get to outsource your success or your character. If you want to be disciplined, you have to build that habit. If you want to be respected, you must act with integrity. If you want to be strong, you must earn it through effort and sacrifice. Every excuse you make robs you of the opportunity to grow. Every time you shift blame, you hand your power to something outside yourself. But when you take responsibility, your path becomes clear. You can begin to shape your habits, your mindset, and your actions in a way that aligns with the person you want to become. Responsibility isn't a burden. It's the starting point for freedom, and until you embrace it fully, the transformation you seek will remain out of reach. 3. You must face your inadequacies. Working on yourself demands a brutal and honest confrontation with your current flaws and limitations. This process is uncomfortable, but necessary for true progress. Working on yourself demands something most people spend their lives avoiding, a direct and honest confrontation with their flaws. It's far easier to stay comfortable, to focus on your strengths, or to distract yourself with entertainment and busyness than it is to stare at your own inadequacies. But without this confrontation, no real growth can occur. Change begins the moment you stop pretending to be more than you are and start admitting the truth about where you're falling short. This requires courage, the kind that doesn't shout, but stands silently in front of the mirror and says, "This is who I am, and it's not enough." That admission is not self-hatred. It's the beginning of self-respect, because only someone who respects their potential would dare to acknowledge how far they've drifted from it. Most people build their entire identity around avoiding this moment. They distract, they numb, they rationalize. But the brutal truth is this: you will never rise above your current state until you are willing to be humbled by it. If you're undisciplined, you have to admit that. If you're weak, you need to face it. If you've been avoiding difficult conversations or quitting when things get hard, you have to own that. Pretending otherwise only ensures that nothing changes. Real self-development doesn't feel good in the beginning. It feels like failure. It feels like shame. But that's the cost of honesty, and honesty is the foundation of transformation. Once you've faced your limitations, you can begin to rebuild. You'll know exactly where the cracks are, and from there, you can lay a stronger foundation. It's not easy, it's not supposed to be, but it's real, and in a world full of illusions and shortcuts, that truth is your first and most powerful weapon for growth. 4. Discipline is the path to power. Strength is not found in pretending to be confident or successful, but in doing small, disciplined actions consistently, like waking up early, telling the truth, and setting clear goals. Strength doesn't come from inspiration alone. It comes from discipline. It's not about feeling powerful or confident in the moment. It's about showing up every single day, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is what separates those who only dream from those who actually build. It's the quiet, repeated decisions that no one sees. Waking up early, finishing what you start, telling the truth even when it's hard, resisting comfort when growth demands discomfort. These are not grand gestures, but they shape your character more than any moment of motivation ever could. Discipline is not a punishment, it's a path to freedom. When you're disciplined, you're no longer a slave to your impulses. You stop making decisions based on what's easy and start making them based on what's right. That gives you power, real power, the kind that stays with you in times of stress, struggle, and doubt. You become reliable both to yourself and to others. You learn that you can trust your own word. You say you'll do something, and then you do it. That simple integrity builds unshakable self-respect. Many people wait for the right mood to act, but the disciplined person understands that action creates the mood. You move forward, and confidence follows. You take the step, and clarity arrives. In a world full of noise and distraction, discipline is your anchor. It gives your life structure, meaning, and momentum. Without it, you remain scattered and reactive, constantly chasing comfort and wondering why nothing changes. But with discipline, you become the kind of person who can carry the weight of responsibility, who can endure difficulty, and who can build something meaningful out of the chaos. Discipline is not just a habit, it's the foundation of strength. 5. Self-improvement is a moral obligation. You have the potential to be better, and it's your duty to pursue that potential. Neglecting your growth is not just a personal failure, but a betrayal of what you could offer to the world. Improving yourself is not just a personal choice, it's a moral obligation. You are capable of becoming more, and that potential comes with responsibility. When you neglect your growth, you don't just waste your own life. You deprive others of the strength, wisdom, and contribution you were meant to bring into the world. Every day you choose comfort over growth. You're choosing a version of yourself that is less than what it could be. That's not harmless. It has consequences. Your family feels it. Your community feels it. The world feels it, because the better version of you, the stronger, more disciplined, more courageous version, could make a difference. But that version only exists if you do the hard work to bring it to life. Most people think self-improvement is about looking good or achieving personal goals, but it's deeper than that. It's about becoming someone trustworthy, someone others can rely on in crisis, someone who can carry the weight when others collapse. That kind of person doesn't appear by accident. They are forged deliberately, painfully, consistently. The truth is, your life matters more than you think, and how you show up in the world ripples far beyond what you see. Every time you develop discipline, you inspire someone else. Every time you act with integrity, you set a standard. Every time you push through hardship, you become an example of what's possible. This isn't just about living for yourself. It's about stepping into your full potential, because others may need your strength one day. They may need your clarity, your leadership, your presence. And if you've neglected yourself, you'll have nothing to give. So the work you do on yourself, it matters, not just for your sake, but for the sake of everyone who depends on the person you're becoming. 6. The world will shape you if you don't shape yourself. If you refuse to take control of your development, the world will impose its will on you, usually through suffering, regret, and lost opportunity. Working on yourself is the only way to live with intention instead of reaction. If you don't take control of your development, the world will shape you in ways you won't like. Life doesn't pause just because you're not ready. It moves forward relentlessly, and if you're not actively working to shape who you are, your mindset, your habits, your character, then external forces will do it for you. Society, circumstance, and the chaos of the world will press in and mold you into something reactive, uncertain, and weak. That's the danger of passivity. If you don't choose who you become, someone or something else will, and the result is rarely in your favor. The world is full of noise, distraction, and manipulation. It rewards surface-level thinking, short-term pleasure, and blind conformity. If you're not grounded, not anchored in discipline and self-awareness, you'll be pulled in 1,000 directions and never truly become anything. You'll react instead of lead. You'll survive instead of grow. You'll follow instead of build. And one day, you'll look back and realize that you became a product of the world's pressure rather than a product of your own purpose. That's why working on yourself is not optional. It's essential. It's your way of taking back authority over your own life. By developing discipline, clarity, and vision, You gain the strength to resist the tides of mediocrity and distraction. You don't wait for the world to tell you who you are. You decide that for yourself. You set your standards. You choose your path. You become intentional. This world is not gentle to the unprepared. It will shape you by force if you don't shape yourself by choice. So build your character like armor. Strengthen your mind like a fortress, and above all, live as if your future depends on what you do today, because it does. In 2025, transformation begins with brutal honesty. Stop lying to yourself. Face your weaknesses, not with shame, but with responsibility. Set clear goals and pursue them with relentless discipline. Clean your environment. It reflects your mind. Speak truth even when it costs you. Embrace discomfort. Growth demands it. Stop waiting to be rescued. Rescue yourself. Compare yourself only to who you were yesterday, not who others are today. Become useful, not just happy, and remember, your potential is not a luxury, it's a duty. This year, don't aim to feel better, aim to become better. Your future self is watching. Make him proud.